In 1947, returning soldiers from World War II were living in garages, chicken coops, and converted ice boxes. According to a 1947 Senate committee report, the housing shortage was so severe that an Oklahoma newspaper ran an advertisement offering a large ice box, quote, 7 to 17 feet, that could be fixed up to live inches. The United States had just won the most expensive war in human history, and it could not house its own veterans. What happened next was one of the fastest construction decisions ever made in America. And it is the reason that 94% of new American homes built in 2024 are still made from the same material chosen in that moment of emergency. Wood. Most people, when they think about American wood frame houses, assume it is a cultural preference, that Americans simply like wood, that it feels warmer or more traditional, or more comfortable than concrete. Some people assume it is cheaper, which is partially true. Others assume that American building codes require it, which is false. The reality is that the material most Americans live inside right now was not chosen through careful deliberation about the best way to build a home. It was chosen because in 1947, country with 12 million returning veterans and almost no available housing needed to build as many houses as possible as fast as possible at the lowest possible cost. And the man who figured out how to do that chose wood, not because it was the best material, because it was the one he could move fastest. If you have ever looked at something you live with every single day and wondered why it works the way it does, this channel exists for exactly that reason. Subscribe so you do not miss the next one. Now back to wood. His name was William Levitt, and in 1947, on 1,300 acres of former potato fields on Long Island, New York, he broke ground on what would become the most consequential housing development in American history. He called it Levittown. His method was borrowed directly from the Ford Motor Company assembly line, except instead of cars moving down the line, the workers moved from house to house. He broke construction into exactly 27 steps. Each crew was trained to do one step only: foundations, framing, roofing, plumbing, electrical. They moved from house to house in sequence, doing their single task over and over. According to Wikipedia's entry on Levittown, at peak production, house could be completed in one day using 36 workers. At one point, Levitt was finishing one new home every 16 minutes. The material that made this possible was wood, specifically pre-cut, pre-sized lumber that arrived at each site already measured and ready to assemble. Think of it like flat pack furniture, but for an entire house. Concrete required skilled masons, curing time, and heavy equipment that slowed everything down. Steel required specialized workers and fabrication that could not be done on site. Wood required carpenter's hammer and a nail gun. According to history.com's account of Levittown's construction, builders in California during the same period were completing a new house every 45 minutes using identical methods. At the Lakewood development near Los Angeles, builders ordered 200,000 identical doors for a single project. The scale was industrial, the speed was unprecedented, and wood was the only material that could keep up. The first Levittown house sold for $7,900. Veterans with GI Bill benefits could buy it with no down payment and monthly payments of $60. According to Planetizen's account of the development, 1,400 houses were purchased in the first 3 hours of sales. Half the planned 2,000 homes were rented within 2 days of the announcement. The demand was not just high, it was desperate, and Levitt met it by building an assembly line for shelter and running it on the one material that moved fast enough to matter. And this is the part that changes how most people think about the house they are living in right now. Levittown did not just build houses, it built the template. The 27-step assembly method that Levitt pioneered in 1947 became the standard model for residential construction across the United States. Developers who had never heard of Levittown were using identical methods within 5 years. The National Association of Home Builders, founded in 1942, spread these techniques through its membership. Building codes in newly developed suburban areas were written around wood frame construction because that was what was being built everywhere, and local officials had little reason to require anything different. According to NAHB analysis of 2024 Census Bureau data, Wood framing accounted for 94% of all completed single-family homes in the United States in 2024. Approximately 959,000 wood-framed homes were completed in that single year alone. Here is what that number means in context. In Germany, the majority of homes are built from masonry, bricks, stone, or concrete block. In France, the same. In Japan, reinforced concrete is standard for most urban construction. These materials are more resistant to fire, to flooding, and to termite damage. They do not warp rot, or require the same maintenance cycles that wood demands, but they take longer to build, require more skilled labor, and cost significantly more upfront. The decision that William Levitt made in 1947, driven entirely by the need to house veterans as fast as humanly possible, locked American home construction into a specific material and a specific method. And that lock has never been released. According to the US History Scenes account of Levittown's legacy, the Levitt model provided the prototype for post-war suburbia across the entire country. Not just in New York, everywhere. There is one more detail that connects Levittown directly to the question of why Americans cannot hang laundry outside their homes. The original Levittown Covenant, the legal agreement all buyers signed, explicitly prohibited residents from hanging laundry to dry outside their homes. According to the US History Scene account, the rules governing the community were extraordinarily specific. Grass had to be cut a certain number of times per month. Certain modifications to the exterior were forbidden, and laundry had to stay inside. The idea was that visible laundry reduced the appearance of the neighborhood, which reduced property values, which reduced the value of every home in the development. That single clause, written into a housing contract in 1947, became the philosophical foundation for home owners association rules that now govern an estimated 74 million Americans across the country. The wood and the laundry ban came from the same place, the same moment, and the same man, 94%. That is the share of new American homes built from wood in 2024. Not because wood is the best material for a house. Not because Americans prefer it. Because in 1947, 12 million veterans needed somewhere to live. A man named William Levitt figured out how to build a house every 16 minutes. And the material that made that possible became the material that every developer, every building code, and every suburb in the country copied for the next 8 decades. Next time a storm warning goes out and you wonder why American houses seem to take damage that European stone buildings do not, this is where that answer starts. Do you live in a wood frame house right now? And did you know that before today? Tell me in the comments. The next video explains another American system that was designed in 1 decade and has not meaningfully changed since. Subscribe and you will see it when it comes out.